Today we are breaking down the Commanders' Week 7 matchup versus the rival New York Giants. I got keys to victory. We're going to talk a little bit about Daniel Jones. Will he play? Will he sit? We're going to discuss all that on today's show. But before we get into this week's preview action, do me a favor and help us beat the Giants off the field this week in our sub battle. Giants Now has been talking a lot of crap over the last week here. They said they're going to beat us off the field in this sub battle. They're beating us by only 5 subscribers right now. So help us win right now by clicking that subscribe button. And if that's not enough motivation for you, here's Giants Now host Marshall Green, who has a message for Commanders fans.
What's up, Commies fans? Marshall Green from Giants Now here. And I just want to let you guys know that the Giants, we may be 1-5. We're about to mop the floor with you guys this Sunday. We're not only beating you on the field, we're also going to beat you in the subscriber battle. We're picking up more subs. Look, Commies suck, Giants on top. F you.
If that's not enough motivation for you guys, I don't know what else will get you to click that subscribe button. So help us win this week. Tell you what, man, click that subscribe button. Try us out for a week. Check out our content, see if you like it. Help us beat the Giants this week. And if you don't like our content after 7 days, you can go ahead and unsubscribe, but I guarantee you, you're not going to do that because we have great content here on the Commanders Report. Now let's get into this week's preview here where, of course, the Commanders will travel to MetLife Stadium here on Sunday to take on the 1-5 New York Giants. And this is definitely an interesting matchup to me because the Giants nearly took down the Buffalo Bills last week. Of course, this is going to be a divisional rivalry. It's going to be very interesting to me to see, these two opponents know each other very well. Sam Howell's first game going up against the New York Giants in his young career. So definitely an intriguing matchup this week. Can't wait to break it down with you guys here in just a second. But first, get in the comments section and let me know who you got in this week's matchup. Do you think the Commanders get to 4-3 with a win over their rival this week? Type WAS. Or if you think the Giants are going to get a bounce-back win at home, go ahead and type NYG down there in the comments. So let's start by discussing Daniel Jones, the New York Giants quarterback, has really struggled to this point in the season. Did not play in Week 6 versus the Buffalo Bills. Tyrod Taylor was the one that ended up playing. Right now, Jones is dealing with a neck injury, and there were some rumors that he was going to miss a significant portion of time, but he's actually practiced this week. He's allowed to throw the football. He has not been cleared for contact at the time of me recording this video, and he's currently questionable to play in Week 7. Now, it is possible by the time this video comes out that an injury status has already come out on Daniel Jones, but at the time of recording here, he is still questionable to go. And if he's not going to be able to play this week, it will once again be Tyrod Taylor here, the backup quarterback for Brian Daboll's New York Giants. Last week, 66.7 completion percentage, 200 yards. Couldn't get in the end zone, but he also didn't make any major mistakes. I think Taylor actually looked a lot better than what Daniel Jones has looked like in this offense to this point. And speaking of that offense, let's take a look at this week's profile here for the Giants. Of course, they're 1-5, led by last year's NFL Coach of the Year, Brian Daboll. Really seems like things are starting to fall apart here in New York, however. Seems like he might be the next Matt Nagy in the National Football League, right? Matt Nagy with the Chicago Bears, Coach of the Year his first year, and then just a complete train wreck the rest of the way through in his tenure there with the Chicago Bears. But they like to run a modern pro spread offense. The offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, has worked under Andy Reid before. Brian Daboll has worked under a bunch of different schemes. And both of those guys I really hold in high regard in terms of their offensive schematic prowess. And, of course, Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator, one of the more well-known DCs around the National Football League. They're going to blitz the hell out of you, man. I hope Sam Howell is ready to take on the heat this week. You're going to see a lot of blitzing. You're going to see a lot of man coverage. I hope the second-year quarterback here for Washington is going to be ready to take that on. And, of course, the Giants so far this season, 1-5. They're considered to be one of the worst teams in the National Football League right now. They did get that win in Week 2 on the road versus the Cardinals. But other than that, 5 losses, and 4 of them were on prime time, right? So they've been in front of a national audience. They have not done well. That 40-0 piece versus the Cowboys was really embarrassing. Same thing with that 49ers. They played some really good teams, however, and I bet the New York Giants, I bet Marshall Green of Giants Now right now is saying, This game against the Washington Commanders is definitely a winnable ball game. So we can take a look at the trends here between the offense and defense here from Commanders versus Giants. So right now the Commanders offense scoring about 22.2 points per game, certainly respectable. And the Giants defense hasn't been great this year. They played a lot better last week versus the Bills, but overall they're giving up 27.8 points per game to this point. They flip it around here. Giants offense versus the Commanders defense. Giants offense has plain simply been the worst offense in the National Football League to this point. Maybe besides New England, but right now just averaging 11.8 points. The Commanders defense hasn't overall played very well, giving up 29.3 points per game. That's 29th in the National Football League. They're definitely going to have to do what they did last week against Atlanta here, holding the team to under 20 points. I think that they will do that this week. But if you believe the trends here, the trends would predict that the Commanders will win this ball game by a score of about 24-21, give or take a couple of points. The trends do point towards a Commanders victory this week, and hopefully the Commanders can come ready to play on the road and get the W. Now, still to come here on the Commanders Report, I'm going to be giving out 4 keys to victory versus the New York Giants this week. It's a tough divisional matchup. There's 4 things I think the Commanders must do. And then also, I got my score prediction for this week's matchup. But before I get into those things, let's have a word from our sponsor at BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code CHAT125 for a 125% deposit bonus today. Now, what does that mean? That means if you put in a deposit of $100 to $600, BetUS is going to match that amount by 125% for you to use on your bet. So, for example, you put in a $100 deposit. They're going to give you $125 additional dollars free of charge to use on your bet. So, a $225 value for just a $100 deposit. If you love sports betting, it's not too late to take advantage of this here before it ends. So go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code CHAT125 to take advantage of that deposit bonus today. So the first key to victory this week, I think, especially defensively, your focus has to be on Saquon Barkley because this passing offense, plain simply, it is the least effective passing offense in the National Football League. So if the Giants are going to get anything going offensively, it's going to be through their running back, Saquon, who's been dealing with some injuries. He's dealt with injuries throughout his career. So far this season, 53 carries for 207 yards and a touchdown. So he's somebody that's extremely dynamic. He really carried this offense last year when he's been in the game. He's been asked to do that this year. He's been less effective this year than he was in 2022. But the Commanders just simply can't let Saquon Barkley run all over the park on them. Last week, the Commanders' run defense did an excellent job holding a really good Atlanta Falcons unit to under a really good performance for this front seven for the Commanders. They did a really, really nice job against Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Those guys know what they're doing in Atlanta when it comes to the run game. Hopefully they can do that once again here in Week 7 and shut down the Giants' offense. Now, rack them up here for me in the comment section, or rather on this video. Every like that we get on today's video is going to equal 1 yard of offense for the Washington Commanders this week. So do your part right now. Click that thumbs up icon and help the Commanders offense get things going here in Week 7. Now let's get to the offensive side of the ball, where I think the number one priority for Washington needs to protect the quarterback. And if the Giants defense has any advantage over the Commanders here, it's that this pass rush for the New York Giants is actually pretty solid. Their nose tackle, Dexter Lawrence, is one of the best in terms of pass rushing nose tackles in the league. Just got a massive contract. Leonard Williams is also a pretty effective 3 technique, and then Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau. Both of those guys can get to the quarterback pretty darn well. And then they also send a lot of blitz. Like, they blitz their safeties a lot. They blitz a corner off the edge a lot. They blitz their linebackers. You nearly never know what Wink Martindale is going to throw at you. All you know is that you're going to see a lot of blitzes, and the Commanders' offensive line better be ready to get things going, man. They've given up a ton of sacks this year. Last week only gave up 3 sacks. That was their best performance of the year to this point. I'm really excited to see what they're going to be able to do here against the Giants because plain simply, this is the only way, in my opinion, that the New York Giants are going to be able to break this game in their favor. I think if you protect Sam Howell, Howell's going to do his thing here. He's going to do a really good job in this football game, get the ball to his receivers. However, if you don't protect him, it could lead to some strip fumbles. It could lead to some interceptions. It could lead to a bunch of sacks and negative plays. So if the Giants are going to have any advantage in this football game, it's going to be with their pass rush. You take that away, you do a good job protecting Sam Howell, you're probably going to win this football game. And speaking of Sam Howell, you got to keep the confidence flowing for the second-year quarterback. Right now, I'm very, very impressed with what Sam Howell has been able to do in offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy's offense behind that offensive line. And let's just be honest, guys, just isn't very good. It's probably a bottom 5 offensive line in the National Football League in terms of overall ability. But despite that, Sam Howell is actually looking pretty darn good. 67.8 completion percentage, about 250 yards passing per game, 9 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And yes, you want to see those interception numbers go down, but Sam Howell last week, 3 touchdown passes, no picks, really looked impressive versus the Atlanta Falcons, in my opinion. And the big question this week for Howell is, will he be able to handle the heat, the pressure coming his way? Is he going to be able to identify when he's hot, when there's an extra defender blitzing than the Commanders have blocking, right? Is he going to be able to decipher that? And is he going to be able to take advantage of the open space in the secondary when they do blitz? This is going to be a real test for Sam Howell. It's going to be his first time going up against the Wink Martindale defense, so I'm very intrigued to see how he handles it this week. Then my final key to victory for the Commanders here in Week 7 is to make the Giants earn everything that they get here, okay? I just don't want Sam Howell to throw 2-3 picks in this football game, which leads to like 2 touchdowns, right? If the Giants are going to win this game, I want the Commanders to play a clean football game and for the Giants to just straight up beat them. Because plain and simply, I think if you play a clean ball game here, if you're the Commanders, the Giants are not beating you. I think this roster for Washington is a lot more talented on both sides of the football. I really do think if you can play a clean football game, you don't give the Giants anything extracurricular here, like in terms of turnovers, in terms of special teams blunders. I think if you play a clean football game here, if you're the Washington Commanders, you come away with a victory and you get to 4-3, which is why my official score prediction this week, I have the Commanders winning pretty convincingly here, 27-9. This would be the best performance for the Commanders defense all season long, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this unit's going to be able to do, especially with Chase Young, Montez Sweat. This is not a good offensive line for the New York Giants. I really do think this pass rush is going to absolutely eat this week, and they're going to put pressure on Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones all day long, and I really don't see this Giants offense turning it around with that much pressure on the quarterback. Now it's your turn. Get in the comment section and let me know. Put your Washington versus New York score predictions down there in the comments. I want to see how you guys are feeling going into this week's matchup. So do me a favor, get in the comment section and give me your score prediction. That's going to be it for today's show, Commanders fans. Really do appreciate all of your support. We'll be covering post-game coverage here versus the Giants tomorrow. So make sure you click that subscribe button where we're going to be covering those post-game coverage and go over everything that goes on tomorrow afternoon. So really do appreciate your support, guys. I will see you guys later. And as always, hail to the Commanders.